So, Jimmy, we all have our own story of getting stuck in the battery industry. Me, for example, got there right after my graduation. It was really by chance. And how it happened to you? How did you get to this market many years ago?
Well, it's an interesting story, and it's almost by chance the same way you did. When I was real young, say 15 years old, I actually got the opportunity to work as an apprentice in a factory that had presses and hydraulics and electrics, and I worked as an apprentice in the maintenance department. So I would work in the evenings and on weekends and then through the summer. So I was able to use my ability to tinker around and learn at the same time. And my father actually worked for the battery company in Frankfort, Indiana, where I originated. And when I graduated from high school, he was able to get me on at the battery factory as working as maintenance. From that point, we worked on the equipment, improved the equipment. We got the attention of the engineering manager back at corporate office in Reading, Pennsylvania at the time. And then it just went on from there. So again, it's just a coincidence that it was a battery company.
Yeah, it's exciting. But does this battery company still exist?
No, it does not. That facility had closed down many years ago.
Oh, I see. But you started from like maintenance to equipment, and how did you switch to the battery production?
Well, so at the plant where they produce the batteries, we actually worked on the equipment that made the batteries. And
Hmm.
so at that point, from that point forward, I was working with batteries. Some of the things at that time that when I was working in the field, I actually designed some equipment. The company saw that, they patented that. I
Wow.
got involved in formation. I actually did a computerized formation
Oh,
back,
really?
back in the about 76 area, where we took away the timers and the old rheostats, and we actually computerized it. And of course, the company at that point actually patented that idea. So I got into the electronics at the same time. I was going to college over at Purdue University. The company paid my way through that, which was good. Took me longer than normally, but we did get through it. And eventually, they moved me to Reading, Pennsylvania, where the corporate office is at, because they wanted me there to work in the equipment department at that point. Um, and
So
then,
we can say that battery industry chose you.
yeah, it's just yeah, just batteries, batteries, batteries is all I can say.
Yes. And after so many years with batteries, tell me something about your battery past. What have inspired you to keep working in manufacturing for 40 or 45 years, if I'm not mistaken? And have you ever thought of like switching to something else, just change the industry?
No, not really. I over my lifetime in the battery business, I have started a lot of facilities from what we call greenfield, from empty buildings to full production, be it battery production or punch production. And I just like the thrill of completing the project, starting from scratch, you might say, and then see the product coming off of the end of the line in the future. And I just like those challenges, and that's why I kept in that. And today I'm still in the battery business, just on the sales side now.
Yeah, absolutely. So your main inspiration during all of those years in battery market was like batteries itself.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not a
So
chemie.
you were dedicated.
Yeah, but I'm not a chemie, so I'm not into the chemistry of the battery. I don't claim to be. I leave it up to the process Kimmies to tell me what they want, how they want it. And then, of course, my job has always been to either find the equipment or build the equipment to meet the process requirements.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you're a kind of battery magician. You make it happen
make
for
it happen
chemists.
from make it happen from drawings.
Yeah, absolutely. So now when you are with Mac, as you mentioned, how will your battery expertise help you in equipment sales?
Well, it's what's interesting because being the customer for so long of battery
Yeah.
equipment, I know what the customer needs, what they want. I know what needs to be improved upon to give the customer, and I can actually speak the customer's language when I'm talking to them about the equipment. So that's really the plus that I feel.
Absolutely, it really helps. So you just can put yourself on their place, remember how it was when you
Exactly.
were like on that side of the table.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, you speak the same language, indeed. So, and Jimmy, I know that during your like rich years with as battery manufacturer, you traveled a lot to Russia, to Europe, US, of course, and
Asia.
have you ever Asia, yes, by the way. So, have you ever noticed the difference in battery industries between those regions and let's say in the period of 90s and nowadays?
I have, and it's interesting, and it's the when I traveled to Russia and to India, it's like 20 years back. They're in behind
uh,
technology
always.
that seems to be than what we have in Europe and in the U.S. So
Mhm,
there's a lot of opportunities in those countries, I feel.
mhm. Is it still the same? Does it still is it still true for now, or was it like that like 20 years ago
It was like that in the 90s. Now
in the
lately they have been there's been a lot of improvement, but
90s?
I still feel that there's a lot of ability to to improve what's there now. I mean, with the lead in the airs and the Pell limits coming down, a lot of places that have cheap labor, they still have that employee they need to take care of and get out of the lead area and get more automation in.
Yeah, agree. So they are constantly improving, but they're still there just several years later than the others, unfortunately. Yes, and I need to, I have to agree with this because I'm located here in this part of the world, yes, in Ukraine, so I can see and to watch this. Unfortunately, can prove that that's true, especially in terms of like some regulations and safety standards. People are not paying much attention to that even nowadays. Yeah. So, continuing that topic, have you ever been shocked by any manufacturing processes seen somewhere in the world?
Well, I don't know if I've been shocked. I maybe if we go back to what I had seen when I was traveling to Russia, shocked to the way of things were done at the time, hand wise, manually wise. But
Mm,
I think more so, I'm I guess impressed or shocked over the improvements that the battery industry has made. For an example, we look at grid casting. Back in the 90s, grid casting, it was you would be doing good if your machine cast a grid, a panel, say at 12 to 14 panels a minute. That was considered a good production on a
mhm,
machine. Where nowadays you can put positive plates in a punch process, and you can punch 300 to 500 panels per minute. So just think about the amount of throughput that you can get today, which is shocking. I mean, back in the 90s, if you would have told me that was possible, I would have said, I don't know. But I've actually seen it. So it's amazing.
Yes, it is definitely. Still, I'm sorry to admit that not many, if we continue talking about CIS countries, Russia, Ukraine, Kazakhstan, Belarus, unfortunately, you won't find here many punching machines, if any, because simply they don't need such high productivity, so they still continue using
Agree.
casting. Yeah.
Agree.
Now about some more personal things, Jimmy. Battery community knows you so good, and I see how people admire your expertise and knowledge. Especially, it's pretty good scene when I see like comments below your posts in LinkedIn. However, what's the most interesting thing about you that no one in the industry knows? Can you tell me that thing
Well,
today?
if you came to my office, you would know that I love airplanes. I'm actually
Wow,
I'm actually a licensed private pilot. So again, I love planes. I love flying. I'll get on an airplane and fall asleep while the bumps are going along, and people will look at me like you're crazy. Why are you sleeping? No problem. I know what's going on. Uh,
that's sensational
yeah,
news.
and another thing as personal hobby, I'm also a ham radio operator. I have amateur radio license. My wife has a license also, and back
Wow, that's the most
so
surprising thing.
so back in the early 80s when I traveled, and before you had the ease of picking up a cell phone and calling home, I
Mhm.
could contact my wife when I was traveling because we both had ham radio license. So, and
That's
one more thing that might be surprising that some people are, I don't think anybody knows about very many, is I'm also a commercial licensed to repair and work on radios and TV stations. Back when I was in 15, 16 years old, my neighbor friend and we actually built our own radio station, and we had fun broadcasting around the neighborhood. And of course, being in electronics and radio, that also got me into my commercial license, and of course into a ham radio license. So
that's
that's a couple of things on the
unbelievable.
hobby side
Yeah.
that we
So
do.
you and your friend and most probably your wife, you were like, Elon Musk's of your time.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so having such amazing and absolutely different hobbies, haven't you thought of like changing your making your hobby like your job, your work, or like to build your career in airplanes with connected with airplanes, with radio and all that stuff?
Well, not, I mean, I was thinking earlier on when I was a teen that I was going to go into the industry of radio and TV and
Hmm.
repair and being the engineer on that. But I went down the line of the battery industry, and that's where we've got. So
Hmm.
hobby's a hobby and work's a work.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Wow, now I don't know even how to, to understand all those news in my head to feed them there, because airplanes and radio and whole life in battery industry, you just don't stop surprising me.
Yeah, yeah. Well, one other thing, my grandson and we love to work with Legos, the little Lego blocks you can build
Yes.
things. And so we have fun working together and building some of those. We put lights in all of his little buildings and cars. So he's got he's working down that career line also. Whether it's
uh,
batteries, I don't know, but I engineering. He's going to be an engineering or programmer because
mm.
he does enjoy programming. He has a Lego robot he programs, so he enjoys that. He's going to soon to be 13 years old, so he's heading down that line too.
So you will be a great team one day, with all your skills. And so the last but not the least question for today is, what concerns about lead batteries are future keep up at night, if any, of course?
Well, the only thing that I can think of that would even do that is more so is the lead in the airs that the battery manufacturers have to work with on a daily basis as the Pell limits come down. The manufacturers have to put more money into bag houses and lead extraction. And so that's a concern because some of the smaller companies, it has already put smaller companies out of business where they just can't financially do that. Now, the one good thing that Mac has is we have the stackers and the robot palletizers. And so our goals is to give the or the battery manufacturer the equipment that they need to take people out of the process, not necessarily to remove them from a job, but more so remove them from the lead and air and things that will, that will also help
to keep them safer.
Exactly.
Yeah, because the last year definitely showed all of us that health is number one issue and number one thing in our lives. So you are doing a great job with Mac. And actually I meant, so if you have any concerns about the battery future in general, about lead batteries, do you feel like lithium batteries are substituting lead batteries in the nearest time, or do we still have some 10-20 years to stay in the market?
I think we've got a ways to go yet. The lead batteries is going to be there a long time. I mean, even though you have EV cars today that has the lithium or batteries in it, you still need that backup battery, lead battery that's usually in the car to run the computer and things like that, because God forbid the battery that powers the car is drained down and dies, and so does the computer, and then all of a sudden you have no control. So you need the backup. But I think that we've got a ways to go. I'm not really concerned that lead batteries is going away.
That's great. We are in the same page. We are optimistic about lead batteries' future. Yeah, because no one feels like independent without lead batteries, even lithium batteries. So thanks a lot, Jimmy, for this great opportunity to talk to you today. And it was like our first introductional interview. And I do hope that we'll continue our great tradition started today in the nearest weeks.
Absolutely. We'll be anxious to show off our equipment.